I'm Lauren,
I'm Kaylee.
and we're the creators of Get Messy.
Get Messy is an art journaling membership community with a focus on creating and connecting with other artists. It's both for beginners and experienced art journalists.
This is our monthly interview series, Messy Conversations, where we talk to some of our favorite art journalers and have them share their talents, secrets, and inspiration with us.
Through these conversations, we hope that you'll learn more about art journaling and are encouraged to find your own style by seeing all the differences in the artists that we interview. We especially hope that you're inspired to make something.
If you would like to become a part of our community, go to getmessyartjournal.com or check us out on Instagram at getmessyartjournal.
So let's chat. Hi guys, it's Kaylee.
And I'm Lauren.
And we're here today with Jules, and she's from England, and she's super talented in like so many different spheres. And we're so excited to talk to her today and help you get to know her. Hi, Jules.
Hello.
Jules, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself other than the fact that you're from England?
Okay, yes, I'm from England. I work as a carpet designer and I've been art journaling for about 2 years, all through Get Messy. I'd never heard of the word until I joined Get Messy.
Oh. 2 years, like it feels like you've been doing it for 10.
I know, it's crazy. I always had like a sketchbook, and because I studied design, I was always quite into like working in my sketchbook, but I never knew that there was a whole world of people who took it as seriously and like prompts, and I literally had no idea. It was like my world was like this, and then I just thought,
Yeah. Okay, so tell us the difference between what was happening in your sketchbook and now what's happening in your art journal.
I have some examples.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So this beast is my first ever sketchbook. And well, first ever, the first one that I got when I left university, so like when I was doing stuff all on my own. So when it was just me, this is what I used to do quite a lot. Like I would find something in a magazine like this and then just kind of emulate it in watercolor or something and like get the inspiration that way.
That's beautiful. Those broken pillars.
And then another one here.
Ooh.
Seemed to be really into gardens at that time for some reason. And then I also tried to do like this one here, the stuff that I collaged was when I went to Paris.
Yeah.
And it was leaflets from a museum, so I just like put the stripes there. And then I have my first ever thing I did for Get Messy.
So exciting.
It's really lame.
Oh no, that's beautiful.
And yeah, and I remember the prompt was like something to do with a tea party and if you could have one anywhere in the world, and I chose Russia, and I was like,
I remember that one.
Yes.
because I remember thinking, what the hell, like what am I going to draw?
That was like one of the like first few ones. Hey, Lauren?
Yeah, that was like real old school, yeah.
And then I think later on in this book, like this was definitely one I did for Get
That's
Messy.
gorgeous.
Oh.
So it's just Ellie Goulding basically, and then some lyrics. But I think I got more into like creating my own version over something rather than like just kind of not copying it, but like showing something and then how I was inspired. And I did that one as well. So this one was, I remember doing that and feeling quite like excited because it was one that was quite different for me.
Yeah.
Because something I've struggled with, and I don't know if other people would have the same thing, but because I studied design, the work I was doing for Get Messy was very different to what I did when I was a student, and I found it really hard to, I was like, I was a different person, and I would think, oh, like it's not as good because I didn't have enough time usually. I think I don't have enough time, I can't research it the way I want to research it, I can't create the way I want to create or what I was used to doing. So it was like I was turning a corner, and I remember doing this page and thinking like, oh, that's actually quite good, and it took like, I don't know, 15 minutes, and I was like, oh, maybe I can like do things quickly.
That's so cool. That's so interesting. I haven't thought about it in that way, like having design or having formal education with the art. Yeah, okay.
It's really different, I guess. And because I was kind of like, not institutionalized, but I was so set in my ways of like, you get a brief and then you do your development and then you do your final pieces. And then it was like, okay, now you're doing Get Messy. It's like every week you're doing a new brief. And it was like, ooh, like a little bit scary. And so yeah, that was my first sketchbook. And it's actually the only sketchbook I own that I would consider finished. I have a lot, but this one I'm like, okay, that's finished. It can just go back on the shelf.
Yeah.
But so would you say like now that you feel a bit more free with your art and you feel more like yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think it took me a little bit of time to like find my style. And sometimes, like when I look at what everyone else does, I think that I look like I'm on drugs because my work's really so busy, and I think, oh God, you should just rein it back, but I can't. So, I think I've definitely found my style, whether I like it or not.
Oh, I like that.
If you had to define your style, how would you describe it in 3 words?
Chaotic, colourful, and mixed media. I think I find like I hardly ever would do a page using just one medium.
Yeah.
Like whenever I write my blog as well, I always put underneath like what I've used, and I'm always like get a lot of comments saying you use a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You're really good at using a lot of things, and you're really good at making them all work so well together.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing to use?
Probably just collage. I think collage is my favorite medium because I've never been a strong drawer.
That's really sneaky because that's still using a lot of stuff. That's not really choosing.
Yeah.
Okay, like medium ink. It would be ink. Okay. Yeah, ink would be my favorite. Yeah. But then, you can put bleach with it.
Yeah. All right. So if someone wanted to get started with inks, using inks in their art journal, what would you recommend to them?
Just to have like a play around. I think I have like quite a good example somewhere. Because the thing, oh yeah, this one's a bit bigger. Can you see that?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I would use them, is I just kind of go for it. And the thing I like with ink is that you can have like a really intense color like there, but then you can also have a really weak color. So it all just depends on the water. But I think you just have to play around and figure out what you like about a medium. I think it's really hard to tell someone how to use it or why they should use it or anything like that. I just think like just go for it, just mess around with it, and if it looks shit, don't worry, just cover it back up. Like it's fine.
Can you show us some more pages?
Yes, I have loads. I was trying to go through to like choose my favorite ones, and then it was really difficult.
It's like choosing your favorite baby.
Yeah. So I like this one. Try to see if we can get it all in.
That's one of my favorites.
I love that one.
Yeah. This is actually a quote that Vanessa like wrote to me on something on Instagram or something. And I was like, oh, that's such a nice thing. Like, I need to cement it.
That's so special.
I think that is like one of the best parts of Get Messy is the community and then the encouragement and what you learn about yourself through other people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've had situations like that where people have told me stuff and I was like, oh, I never realized that about myself, and so I love that.
Exactly. I can show you, so Vanessa's probably like my favorite person that I've met from Get Messy. And I remember
like,
when...
a lot of us,
Yeah.
I don't mean to put her on a pedestal.
But she is.
Yeah, she's just there. And when we were doing the Season of Brave and the zines, and she contacted me, so this is where it all started, and she said, oh, do you want to do a collaborative zine? I was like, oh my God. Like, being contacted by the Queen. So I have like, this is the one that we did. So
that's the first one.
Yeah, this is the one that So she did one about women, and it was called Her Story, like history, but her story about women. And I made it, I like got her zine, it was a copy, ripped it all up, and then basically made my own version. And then just like lots of different little things. And I use quotes from like women's suffrage, which is something that I'm really interested in anyway. Like I love women's rights and feminism and all of that stuff. It's a big passion of mine. So this is a really nice little pet project. And then that was
So that's how the zine squad started with these.
That's how zine squad started. And then I can't remember. Oh yeah, and then I think it was Vanessa and Katie, and they were chatting on the Facebook group for Get Messy, talking about space and stuff. And Vanessa was like, we should do a zine on space to Katie. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I didn't think I was going to be involved. I thought it was like them two. And then I got a group message and they're like, oh, should we do our space zine? And then we decided to dedicate it to Kaylee.
Yay!
And I think it was kind of like just a one-off. And then I was watching a program about, it's really random actually, it was David Attenborough and Barack Obama, and they had a meeting in the White House and they were talking about global warming, and they did this whole thing about the ocean. I was like, oh my God, we should do an ocean theme for Lauren, because it's like the opposite of space. And then, I don't know, we just loved it. So for this C1 as well, I was like, and we should ask other people from Get Messy and like widen it a little bit. And then it just started from there. And yeah, it's like snowballed. So I think now we have 3 going on, and we always have like 3 or 4 zines somewhere in the world.
Yeah. Do you know how many you've done in total?
No, maybe like 7 or 8, I guess, or maybe it might even be more now.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are quite prolific with it.
Yeah. But the aim is to have everyone involved in a zine and have everyone receive a zine, because I think that's nice. And obviously the more we get to know each person through Get Messy, the easier it is to choose the theme. Like we just did the vampire witch zombie theme for Lauren. And we did Tori's zine was like girl boss, because she's like a little entrepreneur. So it's nice to really sort of tailor it.
Yeah. I think that, so Kaylee and I both have our zines that they made us, so we're going to show those to you guys. But it just amazes me because I'm super obsessed with like the ocean and more of the symbolism that goes behind that. But it's definitely not something I talk about really, and something I like share. Like people in my daily life would never know that a lot of my like artwork and stuff is like about the sea and like the depths of the sea, and like that's how a lot of like I view like God and these kind of things. But it's amazing that these people I know on the internet know this about me and like you know, have figured that out and have made me this book that is like so perfect. And so here, I'm going to show you. So this is my zine. I got it in the mail. I had no idea it was coming. So it was like the best day ever. And so let's see. This was one of the pages that Jules made, this really cool octopus and the watercolor behind there. I think that's watercolor.
It's, well, here I go with my mixed media. It's actually ink and acrylic. So I did like, it's before I went through a stage I had no paint. So I used to mix white acrylic with ink, and that's why it looks pastel colored. And it's just, you know, the technique, which I think I got from you, Kayla, when you did your class online, and I mixed it together and then used a card to scratch it out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was one of my lessons in the 101 class. Yeah, yes, we'll have to link to that. Yeah. But yeah, and so what they do is they collaborate, and so everyone does these different pages. So let me show you Jules's next page. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kayla, you show yours.
Yeah, and this is like the most exciting thing like to ever receive ever. Like I cried so much.
We need good space music in the background.
Yes. Oh, this is my page.
Yeah, it's so much fun like trying to like guess.
That one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's Vanessa,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Katie,
Yeah.
Vanessa, Katie.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah,
That's
and Katie on the other
Yeah,
side. Yeah,
okay.
but that one's mine. Yeah.
I'm quite good at like guessing.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Sometimes,
it like mixes. It's quite
yeah, that one's
Mhm.
Katie. But Katie, I saw like when she sends me a zine and she's had it first, I hate it 'cause she's so good. I'm just like, damn it, like why can't you always be last on the list? Because I know like her drawings are out of this world. They're so amazing. I was like, oh, I do not want to do a page to follow on from that.
Um, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about competition and comparison among your art journal pages. What do you think about that
Well, like with myself or with other people.
with like other people in the community?
I think it's all right because, like I said, like I was at uni, so and I studied design, so as long as I've been doing this sort of thing, I've been comparing myself with other people. And actually, when I studied my degree, the way we were graded was on our peers. So
Oh.
say we were all classmates and we were all doing the same course, and I decided to do a technical file and write down all the different techniques I used, you two would be graded down for not doing that.
Oh wow.
Oh.
So I mean, all of my course mates, we were really good friends, so it was quite good. We'd be like, right, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. But obviously, you'd see each other every single day, and you'd see the work that everybody else is doing, and you just had to have kind of that belief that yours is different for a reason, and you don't want to be like everybody else. But obviously, sometimes, especially when you don't have any ideas and you're like, oh, do you know what to make? And you can look and think, oh, but you're making something so beautiful that I could never even try to do. So that can be a little bit difficult. And it's the same with Get Messy. Like this last week, I've been quite sick. I've had, I get migraines, so I've had a really bad week for it. And I didn't do my Get Messy pages till Thursday night, and I refused to look on social media or on blogs to see what other people are doing because I thought it's just going to make me feel even worse that I haven't started yet. So if I'm in that kind of mind frame, it is difficult because sometimes you think I'm never, like, I just can't, like, I'm not feeling it, and it can make you feel like you don't want to start. But if you're feeling quite positive and you're like open to it, I think it's the best place to be inspired. And I love Pinterest for that. Like I just love to see what other people have done. I think, oh, that's so cool, I've never thought of that, or like, can I put that with that, or even that's a really nice quote, or the way they've used their brush. And I think that can be really inspiring, but it's definitely a double-edged sword. I think you have to be careful. And I've also sometimes looked at someone's work, wanted to do something similar, and then covered it back up because I think it's too similar.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that? So you do something and you think, oh, I'm just flat out copying, so I just stop and move on to something else.
I always find that like when I do that, it never looks like the person's. Maybe
Oh,
I'm just,
see,
like,
that's so much better.
maybe it just means that I'm like really rubbish, you know.
No, you really have your own style, like, because yeah, that's so much better. Because I think it was Patricia. She did something, and it was kind of like colors all around like that, and then she put a quote in the middle. So I did something like, I just thought that literally just looks like a copy. Like, there's no way. I should not do that again.
Oh, what they say, imitation is the highest form of
Oh,
flattery.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your digital art journaling that you do.
Okay, I'm trying to think if there's any examples.
Do you do it in
Probably
Photoshop?
not.
What do you
Yeah,
use?
Photoshop, yeah. I'm like, I use Photoshop every single day with work. I use it every single day with a student, so I'm like through and through. I was actually being trained on new software the other week, and the guy who was training me got really annoyed because I kept saying, well, in Photoshop, you can do this. He was like, this isn't Photoshop. I'm like, what? So, yeah, I always use Photoshop. And I don't know, I guess I remember when I was a student and I got taught Photoshop and I hated it. And I would never use it and I would be dead set against it. And then in my final year, for some reason, I just became obsessed with it and I loved it. And I used it all the time. And that's probably when I started to do digital, I guess, like work at the start. And then with art journaling, I guess because I just have it in my mind, it makes sense to me. And I think the first time I did it is because I made a page that I didn't like. And I thought, but it's not bad, I just don't like it. So maybe if I scanned it in and played around with it, I could make it better. And I did, and I liked it a lot more. And I really like the idea as well. Like, I reuse a lot of images in my work.
Yeah.
So I can think, oh, well, I really like the hearts I did for, I don't know, whatever, 6 months ago. And I think they would look good on this page. So I can collage in Photoshop. And it's like you're using your own images rather than magazine images. And I really like that about it. But it's hard to explain, I guess, because it's kind of just within me. It's just something that was a natural thing. So, and I totally understand that other people don't get it. And it is a little bit weird, I guess, because art journaling is more with your hands. But I always like to take it into Photoshop and play around just a little bit, even if it's just like neating it up. It's quite nice.
Yeah. So what do you do with your pages? Do you print them out or do you just leave them on your computer?
I just leave them on my computer. I don't have a printer at home. So everything's just on USBs and hard drives.
Okay.
But yeah, for me, I mean, I like having my physical sketchbooks and my work around, but it doesn't bother me that I don't have everything and that some things are online or just on a USB. Like that's quite fine for me. But I know that quite a lot of people like to have that tactile nature of it and have it around.
Yeah. We'll have links to, I know you've shared some of your digital pages, and so we'll have links in the show notes so people can see those because they're really cool. Yeah, and I think that you bring up a good point because I always talk about this with art journaling is such a more freeing thing for me because scrapbooks are something that are made for other people and your art journal is just for you. And so you don't have to print it off. You don't have to do anything else with it. Just the act of making it is what's important about it.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not very, like, things like Project Life that I probably discovered a year or so ago, like when I discovered Get Messy. I like the idea of it, but I don't like the conformity of it. Like, I find it quite restrictive. Like, I always want to be more. And sometimes even like this is my smallest art journal. And this is my biggest.
Oh my God.
And I want bigger. I was like, saying to my boyfriend the other day, I really want to do something massive. I want to get like a broom and push paint around. Like,
wow.
I feel sometimes very restricted just by the size. So something like Project Life one is in those little 4 squares. I'm just like, oh no, like, kill me now. I can never do it. But I like the idea of it, and I like the idea of documenting. And sometimes when I art journal, when I look back on pages, I realize that is what I'm doing, but I don't realize it at the time. So I was looking back through all these today, and I think I can, bear with me, I think I can find some examples. But last year my mum was really sick, and it took me quite a long time to like realize how that affected me, because I was just very like, oh yeah, it's like fine, she'll get better and whatever, she's just like going through whatever now, and soon it'll be fine and it'll be over. But then when I look at work that I did around that time, I think, yeah, like, you were feeling some stuff. Like, this is what I did. I remember you had to like pick a word that described you right now. So I chose strong. And then I just got all these like repeating things. So I think I was trying to find like that within me, that I knew I had to be really strong for her for that time. And then when I look back at it now, I think, oh, like, I really remember how I felt, but I don't think I even realized how I felt at the time. So that's like a really nice thing, I guess, to look back on. And when I'm looking through my journals, I think, oh, I remember when I did that, and I remember how I was feeling. And so it's sort of like my own version of documenting life.
Yeah. So if you were to give any tips to new people starting out, what would you tell them?
Just do it. I think if something attracts you, and if you think, oh, that sounds interesting, or that sounds like something I might like to try. You just have to try it. And even if you do it and you think, well, I hate it, the nicest thing about working in paper is you can rip it in a little ball, tear it into shreds, and get rid of it. Or like what I like to do is I just paint over it, because that's so nice, because you're just like, it never happened, and no one will ever know that I created that. So I think, yeah, it takes balls, obviously, to do it and to start, but it is the only way you're going to do it. And I think looking at what other people are doing and wishing you were doing something like it is just going to make you feel bad. Like, there's a quote, isn't it? It's like, the only thing that'll make you feel better is doing the work. So that's the only way. If you feel like you want to be an art journalist, if you feel like you want to work in a sketchbook, just do it. That's the only way you're ever going to feel happier or better, because then you will be part of it and you'll grow and you'll learn. And yeah,
exactly. That's good advice. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Jules.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's really nice talking to you.
You too.
Yeah. Well, we'll have lots of links to all the ways that you can connect with Jules down in the show notes and everything that we've talked about. And you can see lots more of her work. And we hope that you will join us for another messy conversation. Bye.